fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Club Day Masters continues and heads to Old Silverstone Legacy for round 8 of our Australian Touring Car Racing Championship with the Audi RS3. Well, it has been non-stop excitement from the get-go in this championship. Now we head towards round 8 and the tail end of the championship. The action is set to continue with 2 30-minute races with a safety car today to keep our drivers on their toes in the traffic and on their toes with the strategy as well. It's a huge talking point last round at Interlagos. I'm David Haynes, producing for us Jay Kennedy and Cam Dance alongside me. Cam, what are we going to see from Silverstone? Because Interlagos was definitely something.
Yeah, it certainly was something indeed, and there's no doubt that we're certainly going to be in for what is hopefully going to be a really good night of racing again, and hopefully some very, very good close finishes, but it's all about the championship at the moment with only 2 rounds to go, and tonight being the penultimate round, it's all going to be about just maximising points for those in the championship. Jack Boyd with quite a substantial lead, not quite a round's lead over Aaron Oliver, but it's certainly close from there on down, and it's anybody's guess as to who's going to end up where come the season finale.
Yep, exactly. Good little gap for Jack Boyd means he just needs to see the top 10 and needs to see the finish in all of the remaining races. But for Aaron Oliver, Christopher Henn, Mario Vartanian, Lee Harrison, very, very close for second place there as we come into this round 8 at Silverstone. Take a look at that track though, because we're not racing the current Grand Prix circuit. We're racing it as it was a good couple years ago. Here is the circuit straddling Buckinghamshire and Northamptonshire. Flick back and forth between those 2 counties as you go around the lap. Many a World Championship Grand Prix, of course, has been held here, but also many a touring car race and other national level motorsport. Very popular here across the many layouts that are possible of Silverstone. This one, no longer possible, but was for quite a while. No infield loop. We've still got an Abbey chicane, bridge, and the full Priory, Brooklands, Luffield section to round out the lap as the drivers are going to be pitting and starting from the old pit building, the sort of north end of the circuit there. But of course, Maggots Beckett's Chapel remain unchanged. In red, the current Grand Prix layout. In white, how we are going to be racing today. That's the track from the sky. Cam, this is the track from onboard, from the driver's eye level.
Certainly is, and it's a little bit of a flat circuit, but it certainly does still managed to put on some really good racing, and still is quite a fun circuit to drive around nevertheless. And Ivan Vincigiato doing the hot lap for us this week, heading into turn 1. Cops, you're going to try and get as much on the inside as you possibly can, not running too wide on the exit though, especially onto that AstroTurf, so you end up in a little bit of strife. We've seen it over the years that we've seen racing here where drivers catch that AstroTurf and then send themselves into the wall, and then coming through Maggots and Beckett's to come all the way on towards Chapel, trying to hit your apexes and set your exit up as well for the Hanger Straight, where passing is going to be probably one of the more priority places, especially with the fact that it's a little bit of a tight section on the way up the road, and then you head up towards Stowe, hard on the brake. Not really much in the way of braking markers, so you got to try and gauge it as best as you can, and running right out to the edge of the circuit. No paved runoff or anything, so you have to make sure you don't drop too wheels into the dirt and out to turn 8, and club for turn 9, bouncing right up over the inside curb, and then trying to be a little bit patient on the throttle coming through club, but also being sure to get on it as early as you possibly can to run right out onto the extra little bit of pavement, trying not to bottom the car out on that little lip of grass as well. And then you come up towards turn 10 and 11 for Abbey in the bridge, and using plenty of curb on both sides of the road as well to maximise the lap time, and plenty of curb on the left hand side before coming under bridge, and using plenty of curb on the inside, trying not to drift right out to the outside, but then again trying to get back to turn 30, the inside of Priory, and then you got the tight section for the final section of the track, Brooklands and Luffield, and going to be plenty of lock and plenty of dive bombs being thrown, that's for sure, for pretty much everybody throughout the field. And then again, due to the nature of the track, trying not to be too over eager with that right foot and ending the lap there.
There you go. That's the layout we're going to be racing on. Some of the key critical corners, the difficult sections of the track. Looking difficult there, heading in towards bridge, but key to note, our championship leader, Jack Boyd, in a fresh coat of paint from last round to this round. He told us about that one, didn't he, Cam?
Yeah, he certainly did. He did mention that he's decided to part ways with the team at HM Engineering after what's been a reasonably good stint, and had plenty of success for them. So we'll see where his next adventure is going to be in the not too distant future, probably, but currently running the same paint as Glenn Boyd is, just to put them together. So we'll see what Jack can do here. Comes across the line, sets turn at 0.9, and puts himself in a reasonable position for the time being, though.
Obviously, short, sharp qualifying session, all cars out on track at the same time. Cars pretty sensitive to the slipstream, particularly down the Hanger Straight. It looked like they get up to a lot of speed. Caleb Hyde's no time on the board yet, with only 3 minutes to go, and I think that means he's only going to get one more after this as well, if that's not the banger he was looking for. It is just over 2 minutes. We've got 3 drivers underneath the 2 minute mark. Stephen Owen, one of them, Kobe Williams and Aaron Oliver likewise.
Yeah, certainly a solid advantage there, but then it gets really tight from there on back to being tenths of a second, if that, between each of all the drivers. So it's very, very close at the top, and like you said, drafters going to be very, very key to getting under that 2 minute mark as well. So we'll see if anybody can try and break under the 2 minute mark. Damien Cairns coming through the final corner now to set a representative lap time. It's going to be 2 minutes, so let's say that time is probably not too ideal. It looks like he's off track as well, so not going to improve it there. Darren Sharp as well through the final corner. This is he's going to just get one more lap in after this one in 2 minutes 6 there for him.
So it is. Looks like Lee Harrison, where he is on track, he's just going to miss out as he's coming through the final sector here. Luffield, tough corner in these front wheel drive cars. They're turning them in early. He decides he wants to stick at the apex. Some breathe out a little bit and then come back for a later apex there. Not Lee Harrison, just keeping it to the inside, and now to the checkered flag. He doesn't have time to complete another lap. That looks like a very good improvement from him and from his teammate Nivan Vantagiato and from Jack Boyd as well. Times tumbling now, 6 cars underneath 2 minutes. And Stephen Owen, well, he's in a good place if a slipstream was going to help him out.
Yeah, he certainly was, especially with the fact that he's had it for pretty much the whole entire lap so far. Williams has gone to the top though, just ahead of Boyd, but what is Stephen Owen going to do? Is he going to improve? No, he is, but it's not going to send him the order that he'd probably like, so he'll end up in P6, and that is where he's going to start.
3 thousandths of a second between Kobe Williams and Jack Boyd at the top. Richard Brookfield is going to practice his pit entry. Not a bad idea. A lot of real estate on that pit entry before you get to the pit lane speed limit. That's something that caught out a lot of the drivers at Okayama, so crucial seconds potentially. A lot of positions to be gained or lost on the pit entry. Sam Lehman might be one of our last drivers who is going to get a time in. I think Darren Sharp and Damien Cairns and some others might as well. So Lehman out the final corner, and then just full throttle, flat chat to the finish line, just past underneath the bridge there.
Lemon improving to P14, not too bad of a lap there. Don't think anybody else is going to get a lap in by the looks of it, so that is pretty much our grid.
Dylan Burse in the Vendaval colours has 10 seconds to get to the finish line if he's going to get a qualifying lap in. Oh, it's close. It's going to be a hard cut on qualifying. He's got to get there before time runs out. And I think time is going to run out and he doesn't get to the line. So Dylan Burse, Matthew Catalone, 2 drivers without a qualifying time. Everyone else is going to line up in this order. Here we go. On pole, Kobe Williams, with the front row shared with Jack Boyd, Ivan Vantagiato, and Aaron Oliver behind. Then it's Lee Harrison and Stephen Owen. Mario Vartanian in 7th, Dale Carpenter in 8th, Caleb Hides for 9th, and Glenn Boyd, the top 10.
Over the page, you can have Liam Caplice and Christopher Hill on row 6, Adam Sharp and Sam Lemon on row 7, Matthew Hansel and Richard Brookfield on row 8, Brody Buchanan and Jack Childs on row 9, Greg Holmes and Shannon McMillan on row 10, and then the rest of your field, Matthew McMillan, we've got Nick Scary of Damien Cairns, Aaron Sharp, Dylan Burse and Matthew Catalone.
Yeah. Interesting to have Dylan Burse on the grid, but right at the back with no qualifying time. This is going to be our first 30-minute race. It's going to be a safety car somewhere in the middle, and all of our drivers are going to need to make a pit stop for fuel as well. Of course, that means the sensible strategy is get that pit stop out of the way early and then have the safety car catch you back up to the field. But do you pit at the end of lap 1 or do you string it out a little longer? Very well depends. I could see some of the drivers who didn't qualify so well still come through the field. All lined up for a standing start in about 15 seconds time. It is cold at Silverstone. 19 degrees Celsius on the track temperature means that that first lap is going to be a bit of an ice skating rink on cold tyres, but after then the tyres should last, should give them great performance, and we see the speed ramp up lap after lap through this 30-minute race. The lights are going to start coming on. The drivers are going to rev up, load the car against the handbrake, and then try to fire away down towards Cops for lap 1, and they're going to do so now. Horrible jump, though, from your championship leader. Gets swamped by Harrison, by Vantagiato, and Cody Williams is going to try to hold the inside into turn 1. Stephen Owen and Aaron Oliver have thrown their way in there as well, and a bit of a hit check between Oliver and championship leader Boyd. He just needs to bring home a result, but it's not been an ideal run to turn 1.
Yeah, it certainly has, and not been probably the launch he wants, but it may have just been more of a conservative start for him, knowing that he doesn't have to worry about it. He's launching up the inside, though, of Vartanian, who's trying to hold around the outside. A little bit of door banging as well on the way onto the hanger straight, and they're going to be side by side now on the way down, and Vartanian's just going to have the upper edge on the way down, but it's a little bit of a freight train just behind as well, with everybody trying to find some real estate, as Caleb Hides is going to look up the inside of Liam Caplice, and he's going to get that move done as well.
A lot of moves early on this lap, and pressure very much on Jack Boyd. About moves up through the field. Dylan Burse up to 16th from the very back of the grid, and Caleb Hides is in the fence as well. Shortcutting quite a bit of the track there. He might have a bit of damage as well.
Could very well.
Steering wheel doesn't look so great.
Yeah, it certainly looks a little bit second-hand, so probably going to be a bit of steering damage due to the contact that he had there from behind it. I imagine it's going to be a penalty for Caplice as well.
A little bit more argy-bargy here on lap 1 as well. Underneath bridge, very committed corner. Also got to work way back to the right-hand side of the lap.
Now, here's a question. What does Vantagiato do in regards to Harrison because of the fact that their teammates, well, Harrison's time for the pit lane, so that kind of answers that question. But with the fact that Vantage Giotto is carrying on, does he let his teammate buy it to help with the championship or not?
Great question. That's for them. I don't know how they go about it, how seriously they take all of this, and you know, who has the number one. We're going to get our first virtual racing school replay though, and it's about this here. Caleb Hydes way into club, and the light cops a big hit from behind, sends him off. Massive checkup. Really his fault there on that one.
Yeah, couldn't really do anything about that, unfortunately. So he's going to pay the price in the form of a little bit of damage, unfortunately, and a lot of lost positions. And you can see the complete running very, very deep, missing his brake marker. Unfortunately, Caleb Hyde's been an innocent victim in that all. But with those pit stops being completed, Aaron Oliver has come out ahead of it, Lee Harrison and Jack Boyd, and Jack Boyd's made up a few places as well. So nice little gain there for him, and a few losing out as well.
Liam Caplice is going to get a drive-through penalty for that one, so that puts his race very much back on the back foot, but I would serve that right away if I was Liam Caplice.
You certainly wouldn't. Certainly not going to want to wait any longer around here as Oliver's trying around the outside of Gabe Williams. A little bit of argy-bargy going on, but managed to get both through it. But Harrison and Boyd lurking in the background, 2x2, 2 rows deep. It's going to be Aaron Oliver with a little bit of contact on Gabe Williams, and around goes Jack Boyd.
Wow, not good. Bit of damage there for Jack Boyd as well, potentially. Horror lap 1 started working his way back through it, and now another replay definitely required as they battle in front of him. He tries to get around the outside here, and he gets a bit wide, bit of check up in front of him, and he gets into that as well.
Yeah, certainly, and probably not what he will have wanted at all, especially considering he was talking about taking no risks at all and wanting to minimize mistakes and everything with where he sat in the championship. Vantage Giotto's in now this time by, as well as a few others, Brookfield, Buchanan, Boyd, Sharp, Carpenter, Vartanian, all in the lane now. So we'll see where Vantage Giotto and that come out in relation to this lead pack who are coming through the final corner now. So this is going to be very, very close. Vantage Giotto is away, so he's going to jump the wall massively.
Yeah, starting times on pit lane, and Aaron Oliver just get a big jump on all of those guys. Has Lee Harrison, Kobe Williams behind him for company as well. Here's Vantage Giotto, though, well and truly ahead.
He certainly managed to jump more in quite spectacular fashion. That's quite a large gap considering where he was in relation to them before. So probably a little bit less fuel into that Audi then. I imagine he's going to try and counter this with the safety car, but we'll certainly have to wait and see it. But at the moment, Burst currently trying to look up the inside of Christopher Hen as they head down towards the back end of the circuit. He's going to send it up the inside very, very hard, and Hen's just going to let him go, slide on by, but he's going to try for the crossover. Is he? Not quite.
Worked pretty effectively there for Dylan Burst. He gets to the race lead, but he's yet to pit, as is Hen and Caleb Hydes with them here. Getting dangerously exposed to potential safety car if it ends up on the earlier side of the possible window for the random safety car. But to come from all the way back, I think Burst needed to do something a bit aggressive, a bit different to everyone else, and going long seems to be his strategy. Hen isn't going to take the risk. Caleb Hydes is going to follow him in as well. And so too will Jack Childs, Nick Skariev. Looks like almost everyone is going to make their pit stop now, except Dylan Burst, who is playing with fire. He could get away with it, but there's also a risk he gets burned. Everyone now pitted except Dylan Burst.
Yeah, certainly. And have to wait and see how it's all going to play out in the end. Really is just going to be a matter of trying to keep it out of the wars, really, especially if you're in the championship hunt, and someone like Aaron Oliver who's leading this little secondary pack and trying to pull away from those behind, but it's a little bit difficult with the fact that they've got so much draft from behind Stephen Owen that sets the fastest lap of the race so far, and looking like he's got some reasonable pace as well compared to those around him. So if he can keep this up, he should be on for a reasonable result.
Sure can. He's got just a little bit of clean air, maximum drift through Beckett's there from, was it Carpenter? Yeah, Dale Carpenter, a little bit of contact early in the corner sent him very much sideways, got him on the back foot. Childs to the left of him, Jack Boyd to the right. Dale Carpenter is going to lose out on yet another position here. Jack Boyd 9th at the moment. Could become 8th once Dylan Burst pits, but definitely back from the heady heights of qualifying on the front row.
And certainly they'll be trying to get as far up the grid as they possibly can at this stage. A little bit of a safety car going to intervene with all this battling and going to close this all back up. So Vantagiato really not at much of an advantage by the end of this race. Still plenty of racing to go as well, so they don't really need to push all that early at this stage at least.
Dylan Burst gets a drive-through penalty. That is not good for him whatsoever. If he could serve that now and then make his pit stop after, or serve his pit stop and then the drive through the lap after that, or he might get held longer in his box here. Dylan Burst is, I think, opted to make this a drive-through, wanted to pit, and has now had to turn it into a drive-through because to serve the penalty and the pit stop at the same time would be more painful than 2 trips down the lane.
Yeah, it certainly would be, although, you know, you would be right. It would be more painful to do.
Because you turn it into a 40-second stop and hold compared to the about 30-second drive-through delta.
Yeah, exactly. So plenty of disadvantage to doing the stop with that penalty, and clearly just decided to do 2 trips down the lane and is going to hurt less. And the fact that also we've got that safety car, if he can actually keep on going, he might actually be okay with the fact that he's going to be able to do it under safety car and then recover from there.
I mean, the drive-through's cleared now. He can pit under safety car, but he'd want to pit before the safety car. If he takes his pit stop under safety car after the field is all compressed, he's right back to square one at the very tail of the field again. But the time loss has been negated. It's just all about the track position. They are racing every which way down the hangar straight now. Jack Childs around the outside of Dale Carpenter, who gets sent for another trip. And it's brought the battling cars who were behind into the picture as well. Caleb Hydes, Christopher Hen. Hydes having a dive now at Childs.
And then Childs going to try hold it around the outside. He's going to the inside for Club though, but Hyde's trying to hold it round at the outside, and momentum's going to be on his side as well. So he's going to have the inside for the next corner. Hen's looming in the background as well, winning a piece of this. He's going to look to try and get up the inside of Childs. Nearly a little bit of contact, but not quite able to get the move done in the end. But Hydes is successful and gets here to Childs.
Looking like 10 laps to go at this point, the pace they're doing. Dylan Burst still needs to make a pit stop. Ivan Vantagiato is the adjusted leader ahead of Great Battle Sabine, Oliver Harrison, etc. This is the replay. Jack Childs is a slow down for Dale Carpenter in front, I think. Jack Childs tries to come around the outside.
Possibly just a little bit of a misjudgment on whether he was going to be clear or not in time to turn, and unfortunately he wasn't. So Carpenter's going to unfortunately lose a lot of places out of that, and possibly going to be a penalty for Childs as a result of that. Burst in the lane now and changing tyres as well. So interesting strategy there, as he's going to drop to well outside the top 20 now, all the way down to the back of the field really. So
you reckon he had his pit stop planned out and then it got reset when he did the drive-through?
Could be very possible.
More trouble for Childs. Has to engage reverse gear. That's never great under green flag conditions. That's going to cost a lot of time. Anytime you need to get into reverse gear, you're not having a great day. But ahead of them and still waiting on the safety car, Aaron Oliver is defending pretty strongly from Kobe Williams. Williams ahead now. of Lee Harrison.
And Harrison's looking to come back. Not quite. He's going to poke the nose out and just try and fill those mirrors. But a very, very solid move from Williams to get on by and move into 4th place. For the time being, he'll go on the hunt for Aaron Oliver, who's just up the road from the virtual racing school. Replay of what happened to Jack Childs. Actually, we won't. There it is. There's the replay of what's happened to Jack Childs. Try again with the Jason Magic and just coming through Maggots and Beckons, and it's very, very odd. Gets a little bit of slide on coming on through and then just loses the rear end from touching the grass. Not quite sure what actually made the car do that, but nevertheless, here's the overtake of Kobe Williams up the inside of Lee Harrison at the end of the hangar straight, which makes it very, very easy and a very solid pass.
Yep, great battle over what's going to end up being some of the podium positions, or at least when we get the safety car and we get the restart. It's Giotto leading, Oliver second, Kobe Williams looking very, very aggressive here. They've started to drop Harrison, Vartanian and Owen just a little bit. And Oliver, well, trying to defend a little bit down the hangar straight until he's confident that Williams isn't close enough to have a dig.
And looks like Williams could be slightly quicker in terms of outright pace compared to Oliver, so Williams probably going to try and size up a move at some point. I did think he was going to do one there into turn 8, but decided to just sit behind for the time being, and sitting right behind in the draft as well now as Kobe Williams pokes the nose out to fill the mirrors, but no move can happen this time into turn 10.
A little flash in the headlights though. Doesn't mean a whole lot there because he still stayed in line, still waiting. Having a look in some of these places where it flips around. Greg Holmes is going to be the subject of a virtual racing school replay. As Liam Caplice has already served a drive-through penalty. He's trying to come back through the field. Aggressive move. He gets all the way down the inside and then parks it up in front. I think Greg Holmes kind of spooked by a very, very strong move. Rolls out of that one. Police back up into 17th. Very, very important, as we said, that he served that drive-through before the safety car comes out. He picks up a couple more positions, and he's going to be right in the train at the restart, and can make a couple more spots. Stephen Owen, who we ride on board with at the moment, I think, just set. Well, he just set the fastest lap of the race, and then he kind of gets taken away. Now, Vartanian's got the fastest clean lap of the race, but Steve Owen went faster.
Yeah, he certainly did. Ever so slightly, though. It was still a 59.5, but it was a 59.517 for Owen and a 59.590 for Vartanian. So some slight pace advantage there for Stephen Owen, and he's just looming in the background. He's actually starting to catch this little pack as well, who are actually all holding each other up and sort of a little bit slower as well compared to Vartanian and Owen. So expect this to turn into quite the little tussle in a few laps time, I'd say, if we don't get the safety car. But certainly put your bets on Steve Owen to possibly get by these guys after the safety car if he doesn't get by now.
Certainly looks good in qualifying for a couple of hot minutes, didn't he? So speed around this older layout of Silverstone appears to be there. And
Aaron Oliver's actually just pulled away from them a little bit here, which is
for sure
interesting. And actually, speaking of the caution, there it is.
Yep. Safety car, safety car, safety car. He's about to leave pit lane and will pick up Ivan Vantagiato and then compress this train here. Your top 10 is Vantagiato, Oliver, Williams, Harrison, Vartanian, Stephen Owen, and then Jack Boyd, Caleb Hyde, Christopher Henn, and Adam Sharp. There's a safety car just waiting to pick up our leader, Vantagiato, who's crossed the start-finish line about now and is already already compressing the field before he even gets to the safety car, which is now going to get out on track. It's the Porsche again, I think.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
Bring back the truck.
I agree. Bring back the truck. It's the best one out there. You can't go wrong when it's a
You
truck.
can't miss it either, you know?
You really actually can't.
Yeah, that thing is like 2 city blocks long and, you know, taller than the Empire State Building. Stands out like a sore thumb on anything that isn't a dirt track, but maybe you need the safety car to stand out like a sore thumb. Tell you where it'd look good. The final round at Daytona.
Actually would. It really would.
So they're hanging about on the hangar straight at the moment behind the safety car, where the lights will go off at the end of this lap. We'll have one more lap behind the safety car, and then I'm going to guess a 2 or only 3 lap sprint after this. Safety car a little late and occupies a bit more time on this layout than it would at some others, being a full Grand Prix circuit. We got any fire trucks? We got any ambulances around? What happens at Silverstone?
I could swear there is 1 or 2 somewhere. I can't quite remember where it is. I think it's through the final sector or somewhere like that.
Keep an eye on it further around the lap here. See what kind of Christmas lights Legacy Silverstone has to offer under caution. I don't think there's anything in the dash of the TCRs under caution. You know, you've got various oval racing cars like the IndyCar where yellow lights come up in the dash. You get a safety car light in the LMP2 Delara in a very prominent location as well. I don't think you get a whole lot in the TCR. Through bridge here. Is there lights on the bridge?
There is.
Just wonder if they're correctly hooked up.
There actually is lights on there, but they don't seem to be functioning at the moment.
Ripped off. I want my money back. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Where's that? Okay.
There it is.
Pit entry open or closed? Is that light to determine the status of pit in? We're going to try... Oh, it's on the main straight there, just to help you, because the flags stand. And he goes from waving it to holding it. That lets us know we're going green at the end of this lap. One around the outside of the pit straight, just to give you more of a heads up before you come around the corner and see the flag stand. But critically, lights are off the Porsche safety car, and Barney has gone from drying his yellow dishcloth to just letting it catch the air.
Yes,
Good map of Silverstone there as well for all of those spectators.
It actually is. It's actually quite a good little map, that one. I've never actually noticed that one.
And you can tell all the spectators are properly British as well, because it's measly 18 degrees Celsius in the air and everyone's wearing shorts and tank tops and whatnot. That's probably what happens in the UK when the temperatures hit double digits, and probably the same in New Zealand as well.
Oh, you certainly won't find. Oh, no, I tell a lie. You'll find someone wearing shorts when it's 5 degrees outside. Not in Auckland, though.
No, done as in Auckland, a different breed, I think.
I think it's anywhere south of the Central Plateau in the North Island, you're going to be wearing shorts.
Alrighty. It's great. We've had a fantastic little sightseeing tour of the first half of the lap. Keep our eyes peeled for off-track excitement in the back half of the lap before we can then keep our eyes peeled for on-track excitement when we restart at the end of this race with Van Vantagiato leading. And I am predicting 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes of racing, which would be 4 laps, wouldn't it? Because under 6 minutes, we're only going to get 3 laps. Over 6 minutes, we're going to get 4.
Yes, although that does... Yeah, no, you would be right, yes.
Roughly, give or take.
Yeah.
Right. Bridge. What's the excitement? There's a map out there. There's lights on the bridge there that aren't illuminated that you would expect ought to be. Big jumbo screen. And Aaron Oliver is very, very keen to not let Vantagiato have too much of an advantage on this restart. Vantagiato's already started backing up the field, pacing them backwards and letting that safety car... that safety car's in a different county now. Actually, that's not quite how it works. It's anyway. Vantagiato is very, very eager to back the field up and give himself all the space he thinks he needs to restart. And I think he's gone now, right in the middle of Luffield. Put the power down, taking us racing once again with 6.5 minutes to go. 6:20, I think, as he crosses the line. That will give us 4 laps to decide the winner of race 1.
Yes, certainly. Now, this could be a possible error because of the fact that he had a very, very short stop, mind you. So, possibly can't do the extra lap, which if we do actually do that 4th lap, he may end up being in trouble maybe. So, we'll have to keep an eye on it and see what happens. But he'll certainly want to try and not run out of fuel here if he is too short with that extra lap.
Jack Boyd leaning on Stephen Owen, who's been a little slower off the restart. They lean on each other. Now Jack Boyd pushes him down the straight and drummers for Damien Cairns, who exploring the wrong part of the track in the wrong direction. Meanwhile, Stephen Owen defending the inside. Jack Boyd going to swing wide around the outside of Stowe if he can. Space runs out as Stephen Owen pushes wide. He's going to lose 1 spot, and he's door-to-door with Caleb Hydes to maybe lose another.
There's nearly more contact between the two of them. Up the inside goes Christopher Hearn, though, on Caleb Hydes there, and he's going to not quite be able to get the move done, though. But that was very, very close for Stephen Owen to possibly have his race go all down the googly in the end, but certainly going to be able to just hold on and try and follow Jack Boyd on through.
On the attack once again into Abbey. Now Owen manages to hold position. Hydes' momentum forward stunted a little bit, and Hen also not able to grab a position. On the topic of fuel, I don't think anyone's going to be too short because of the amount of time we spent behind the safety car, because it's a big lap. Much lower consumption behind the safety car. As a percentage of the 30 minutes, our green flag racing full throttle time is a bit less than the other shorter circuits that we have visited. Here's Kobe Williams on the attack with Aaron Oliver, though. Oliver wide at Cops. Same too for Vantagiato. Track limits means nothing in this final dash to the end to these guys.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't mean anything, but certainly they're all fighting for the championship at the end of the day and fighting for points. So we'll have to see what happens, and they're certainly not going to leave anything on the table, especially Aaron Oliver, with the fact that he sits P2 in the standings and certainly has a lot more to lose than Kobe Williams does, and Williams has the draft now down at the hanger straight, not quite going to be close enough to get a move done though.
The slipstream always massive down the hanger straight there, and for the great jump after the restart he had, it's compressed now, and they've caught back up to him somewhat. Vantagiato, Oliver, Kobe Williams, Lee Harrison all close for 4th, and Tanian and Boyd going to try to catch as well. Your top 4 all within about a second as time runs out on race 1, and of course the finishing order for race 1. Very important because it leads us into our top 15 invert for race 2. Skariev and Dylan Burst fighting over 18th aren't going to be the beneficiaries of that. They're too far back. Brady Buchanan up in 15th. Going to be a lucky winner of that one if he can hold on to 15th. Police behind him in 16th. Could trouble him though towards the end here.
Yeah, he certainly could cause some grief from coming the end of this race, but in front of the field, that gap is closing and closing quickly, actually, between Oliver and Vantagiato. And Oliver with the win in his sights, and he's certainly going to want to win this race as well, especially with the fact of where he sits in the championship and what's on the line, but still has to do another lap after this one if he wants to get it done.
Whoa, that is all of the mowing on the outside of Cops there for Vantagiato. I think you either commit to it and go all the way out there, or you keep it on the track limits. In between, it seems like there's a lot of dust, a lot of marbles, and not a lot of grip. The run off the corner here at Chapel is going to be important for Oliver and Williams, because Williams is right with Aaron Oliver. All of them on the right-hand side, and now Oliver pulls off the defensive line onto the racing line, and he's going to leave this one for Williams. Kobe Williams up into second place.
Yeah, certainly a very nice move by Williams, but is Oliver going to have anything for him? And they don't want to hold each other up too much as well. So it could have been a smart move by Oliver as well to just let him by and try and catch, well, drag him along to Vantagiato, who's just up the road as well. So we'll see what happens between these two, or these three, or even these four, with the fact that there's four of them in this little pack here. But certainly is going to be about trying to hunt Vantagiato down and see what they can do.
Yeah, for sure. That might have been Oliver's thinking there, is let Kobe Williams lead and catch them up to Vantagiato. Not that Oliver, second in the championship, is particularly worried about going for the win. Just wants the points potentially. He's got Harrison right with him. And there's time left on the clock, so this definitely should be the start of the final lap and not the checkered flag. Confirmation on that one shortly, but surely 20 seconds to go. We start the final lap now. Still racing like it's one to go. Vantagiato leads from Williams, who sets the fastest lap of the race in all of them. Far more respectful through Cops this time.
He's certainly a little bit more respectful, but certainly he'll be pushing hard from here on out to try and keep the win in his hands. He's nearly there, but still has a little bit of track to go. And Williams still pushing very, very hard. He did a 59.209 to Vantagiato's 59.489, so the pace is clearly there with the Williams, but whether he's going to be able to get the move done is certainly going to be another question.
Yeah, for sure. Once you get this far around the lap, you're beginning to run out of overtaking opportunities. Williams so aggressive through Stowe. Well, yeah, not great. That hasn't earned him any time whatsoever. He's now side by side with Oliver. Around the outside, no moves made. So I think Williams had his one shot and kind of missed with that one there. Too aggressive in Stowe. Now, probably not close enough for a look anywhere at the end. Is it going to devolve into a fight for second, third, and fourth, or do they still think they can catch Vantagiato?
It's very, very possible that they could, but it's going to be really, really close.
Fighting for that reverse grid pole. Caplice has gotten himself ahead of Brady Buchanan. Buchanan looking from pole to 16th for race 2 as Liam Caplice gets up into 15th. But there's contact at the podium positions. Lee Harrison sent Aaron Oliver into a big slide, and that's let first and second get away. Still going to battle over third, but the win in race 1 of Club Day Masters is going to go to Ivan Vantagiato, because Kobe Williams cannot catch him. And the remaining podium positions, Oliver's still going to hold on to third with Harrison in fourth, and then they all stream through. Battle for 15th. Oh, so critical for the reverse grid in race 2. Police is going to get 15th. I do think Buchanan misses out, but we wait to see that get finalised because well, it's never over until it's over. Some drivers sometimes pick up penalties late in the race. Do you see what I see? Vantagiato getting dropped from the race lead for exceeding incident limits.
Yeah,
I
he
see
did
Cody
actually,
Williams scored as the winner of race 1, Cam.
Yeah, certainly. And Vantagiato all the way down in 24th after that. So, unfortunately, Vantagiato being a little bit too eager and unfortunately paid the price.
Wow. I wonder if we can wind back and take a look because it's being suggested that he might have cut the final corner to the checkered flag, being given a slowdown penalty that he then had no time to serve. Of course, you carry a slowdown penalty across the checkered flag and, well, it's even more painful than if you had to serve it out on track. So, officially, Kobe Williams scored as the winner of race 1. Once the dust settles, Aaron Oliver in second, Lee Harrison completing the podium, then Vartanian, Jack Boyd, Stephen Owen, Caleb Hydes, Christopher Henn, Glenn Boyd, Sam Lehman. And Cam, as you look at the rest, that's also going to change the complexion of who gets the reverse grid pole.
It certainly is, because you're going to have Jack Boyd starting in, sorry, looking at the wrong race. You're going to have Adam Sharp in 11th, 12th, Brookfield, 13th, Hansels Taylor, Caplice in 14th, and Buchanan's going to get the pole for the following race. And then you're going to have obviously Dylan Burst, Nick Scariev, Matthew McMillan, Greg Holmes, Shane McMillan, Darren Sharp, Damien Cairns, Dale Carpenter, Ivan Vantagiato finishing all the way down in 24th, Jack Childs, and then Matthew Carvalone.
Yeah. That was the officially scored order. Vantagiato, what's that, like 45 seconds added post-race? We are going to, in this little 5-minute warm-up time between race 1 and race 2, see if we can go back and take a look at the final sector for Vantagiato, who was definitely first to the line. But then once everyone else had finished and it was calculated, got dropped all the way down. Here's Vantagiato. This has got to be the start of the final lap because... Okay, so you've got to look out for... you've got to look out for those bollards on the inside of the sweeping right-hander of Woodcote, I think it is. Yeah, that could have been it there at the start of the last lap. So this is the start of the last lap there for Vantagiato. It was the lap before, you remember, he and many others were exceeding track limits in places like Copse and Stowe, potentially Bridge as well. There's a one in the middle there of Beckett's, I think it is, where you can also pick up an incident point. We're really wondering about those bollards in the final corner.
Yeah, I've gone and had a look myself, and it doesn't look like he's cut them to the extreme that you might see in qualifying or from other drivers, but do wonder if he's maybe cut turn 8 a little bit too much with how much curb on the inside he's taken, maybe.
I'm being told it's a slowdown, not for incident points, but gotta wonder if that's entirely true, because there are a few times we saw him definitely playing fast and loose with track limits. This is also actually a great time to look at Aaron Oliver on this final lap in the final sector as well, because Lee Harrison had a bit of an ambitious move at him that cost them a handful of time. It comes up about here, looking to the inside here, braking deep, and that sends Oliver into a slide that is catchable in a front-wheel drive car. That was dropped them back away from first and second, but they managed to still finish in that order. This is what we're looking for. This is what we've been waiting all lap for. Vantagiato and his line through the checkered flag. Does it cut the course? Whoa. Well, sure looks like it there. The center line of the car is the wrong side of the bollards. And that could have cost him the race win. He didn't need to do that. Lapse of concentration right at the end, Cam.
Yeah, certainly. Very much what could have been the cause for him getting that penalty in the end from a slowdown, and unfortunately no time to get rid of it either. But we'll see what he can do from the back of the grid and race on with the pace that he's shown. It shouldn't be too hard for him to get back through.
Yep, race 2 coming up with a grid carried over from the finish of race 1 with the top 15 inverted. Everything else about the format stays the same. 30 minutes. Drivers are going to need a pit stop and there will be a safety car. But when is a mystery to us and a mystery to the drivers. Brady Buchanan, after the Vantaggiato penalty, moves up into 15th, which gives him lucky pole position for race 2, with Liam Caplice, Matthew Hansford-Taylor, Richard Brookfield, Adam Sharp, Sam Lehman, Glenn Boyd, Christopher Henn, Caleb Hides, and Stephen Owen making our top 10.
Over the page to Jack Boyd, Mario Vartani, and Lee Harrison, Aaron Oliver, and Kobe Williams here, top 5 from race 1, and then burst in 16th, 17th to Nick Scarry, and then you're going to have Matthew McMillan at 18th, Greg Holmes at 19th, and Shane McMillan rounding out the top 20.
And then the remainder of the grid is Darren Sharp, Damien Cairns, Dale Carpenter, Vantaggiato all the way back in 24th, and Jack Childs in 25th. They're all on the grid. It's getting dark at Silverstone, but about to get going for race 2. They launch into action. Liam Caplice, a great jump. Adam Sharp, momentum, and 3 wide behind. So I think Caleb Hides splits Jack Boyd and Sam Lehman potentially in the first car is around. Stephen Owen is several around.
Yeah, Jack Boyd's involved in that as well by the looks of it. No, that's Kobe Williams, sorry. So, number of drivers from race 1 who were in contention, unfortunately being taken out of this one massively.
A lot for race control to look at in turn 1 there, a lot for us to look at, but Adam Sharp, big jump from 5th on the grid up into 3rd. Vantaggiato likewise gaining 4 positions. It's still going. Deeper in the field, Maggots, Beckett's, etc. Not great for poor Darren Sharp. And big slowdown, I think, for Hansford Taylor, or is he just nursing some damage there? He's giving away positions on the hanger straight as Burst and Jack Boyd fight. I think it's got to be damage for Hansford Taylor if he's still dropping backwards.
Yeah, I'd say it probably is going to be a bit of damage on that car, unfortunately, by the looks of it, but certainly a number of winners and losers off the start of this one. We'll grab a virtual racing school replay to dissect this start that was quite messy and quite chaotic.
There was a lot of 3 wide, some getting a better jump than others. Kobe Williams is looking at in front. Stephen Owen and Stephen Owen and Kobe Williams that sort of came together, and then Vartanian. I think it's Vartanian and Owen here we're looking at on the right. Yeah. Did Owen sort of come across to try to close off Vartanian and cause that, or was it something else? What do you see out of this, Cam?
Certainly a hard one to try and dissect there, but certainly does look like Stephen Owen just came across the nose, unfortunately, and Vartanian being part of it, and unfortunately Williams kind of being an innocent bystander and being sandwiched into the wall by Vartanian. So unfortunately that's not been the start that those 3 will have been hoping for at all, but a number of people deciding to come down onto the lane now. Sharp, Caplice, Boyd, Lehman, Oliver, Hansford Taylor, Harrison, and a few others all deciding to come down onto the lane, some with damage and some not, but certainly it is a very busy pit lane, and it's very busy at the front of the field as well, as you've got Caleb Hides and Dylan Burst and Brookford and Buchanan all fighting for the lead here.
Mega move from Burst just there. He saw Hides trying to get around Richard Brookfield and then swooped in as they're going to go side by side in front. Buchanan and Brookfield in the battle for the lead right now. I think Brookfield is going to get down the inside of Buchanan, and Burst 13 positions gained, but still needs a pit stop. Of those who have pitted, Jack Boyd is the leader from Caprice and Aaron Oliver. And then you see the order of the rest of our pitters. Everyone from Boyd backwards has made a pit stop now. Kobe Williams has finally gotten that incredibly damaged car around to the pit lane. He's going to stay on the lead lap, which I think is critical with a safety car coming up.
It certainly is very critical, as he'll not end up a lap down without this race is going to end up playing out. And certainly it's starting to get a little bit dark out there as well, the fact that the sun is setting, but nevertheless this battle is not having any sort of sunset happen at all, as Burst is pressuring Brookfield massively at the moment for the lead of this race, and he's seriously looking to try and get a move done here as early as he possibly can, and looking to try and get the run out of the final corner. Looks like he's done an all right job, and he might be able to have a go at turn 1. He's closing and closing, looks to the inside on the way down towards turn 1, brakes slightly later and gets up the inside of Brookfield and managed to get that job done very, very easily.
Really looks like Brookfield was going to go for the pit lane initially there, but they stay out and they battle a lot behind. Are going to go for pit lane. Just leaves Burst, Brookfield and Hydes out on track without a pit stop yet. You can see, popular place to be right now. Jack Boyd is going to swoop around all of those guys though, and maintain his position as potentially net race leader, pending what kind of pace Dylan Burst has got.
Depending when that safety car comes out as well, so we'll have to wait and see what happens, but certainly going to be one that we're going to have to keep an eye on, as Kobe Williams still stopped in the lane, so he's been there a while and looks like he's getting repairs done by the looks of it, so he's going to be there for quite some time, probably going to be a DNF as a result of that damage that he got, but certainly still going on at the front, and Hydes is going to be now starting to pressure Brookfield. He's starting to drop off the back of Dylan Burst a little bit in the last half of the circuit and half of this lap as well, so Field not having the ultimate pace that Burst seems to have, but Caleb Hydes seriously looking to try and get a move done to move in a second.
Wonder when we're going to see the safety car in this race. Could be a little earlier. I'm worried if I was Burst going too long. But the race is already going better than last race because there is no penalties from any action on lap 1, turn 1. Burst had in the previous race. He's all good this one as Brookfield comes down to pit. Burst stays out and sets the fastest lap of the race so far. How close are they willing to get to the fire before they flinch and make their pit stop, Burst and Hydes?
Yeah, that is certainly the great unknown that we aren't sure, and surely they would pit before the caution ends up coming out. You've got to do it at some point, really. You probably want to do it this lap or next lap at the least, because that caution is going to drop at some stage, and you don't really want to get caught out by it at all, as Brookfield comes out just in behind Adam Sharp, who's not quite going to get him actually, so he'll slot in behind those ahead of him, the likes of Aaron Oliver in that.
Yeah, going a bit longer. It hasn't worked out too bad for Richard Brookfield. Car looks a little skaty right now, but he rejoins ahead of Sharp and Harrison and Lehman and Buchanan and others there. Not bad from Richard Brookfield, but still with quite a lot to go in this second race. Here is Oliver, who wants a piece of Caprice. Inside at Stowe is normally the place to be. He runs a little wide. Caprice wants some room on the outside and is willing to rub a fender or two to stay out there and keep his nose in front. Thought Oliver had that one, but Caprice refuses to roll over and let it die.
He certainly refuses to go by the wayside, but Oliver certainly starting to pressure the back of Caprice. He's going to look to the inside on the way down towards turn 11. Is he going to get the move done? He watches it up the inside, and he's going to get that one done very, very easily. Nearly contact between the two of them, bumper to bumper, but certainly managed to get it done. It was a little bit sparks there on the way by that camera. Not sure if there was a little bit of contact between those behind, but certainly still going on at the front, and a few more deciding to come down onto the lane. Hides and bursts finally deciding to get their pit stop out of the way so they don't get caught out by the safety car. But how's the move by Caprice to try and get up the inside? We got very, very close, but wasn't able to succeed.
I think it looks pretty good for Hides and Burst, by the way. When Boyd rejoined the race, he was about 29 seconds behind them, and then over the next 2 laps, they definitely going faster for about a couple seconds. So the pit stop is done for Hides. He's going to jump Burst in the pit lane. Bit of a long stop for Burst could actually be his undoing here as Jack Boyd swoops around into the race lead ahead of Hides. Burst, if his pit stop was 3 seconds quicker, I think he would have come out ahead or door-to-door with Jack Boyd. Instead, he's got Aaron Oliver with the momentum to go in front of him. And Caprice probably looking to set up a good exit off this complex of corners and also have it dig at him. Pit stop went on too long for Burst.
Like a little bit too long, but Dale Cup has got a drive-through for incident points already, and we're only 5 laps in, not even halfway through this race yet, so it's already people starting to get affected by drive-throughs as it's on for between Burst and Oliver. A little bit of contact between the two of them, and it's on behind them as well between the two iLEC teammates, Brookfield and Caprice. Caprice up the inside of his teammate, sends it hard and manages to get the job done. Oliver just holds off Burst in the end, so a little bit of position swapping there between those few, and Harrison's right on the back of this little iLEC train now.
So Boyd 1.5 second lead, Caleb Hides in second, about a 1.5 second gap ahead of this battle. So Boyd's done well, Hides has done well, and Bird on back. Here's a train and a half where you definitely feel like Burst could have the pace. And we get the safety car now. A little on the early side means we can have a lot of laps to race to the end when it's complete. Our favourite flashy lights on the pit straight come on once again, and Jack Boyd and Caleb Hyde's lead is going to evaporate. But how many times have we seen Jack Boyd absolutely nail a safety car restart?
He certainly managed to do a very, very good restart in the past few rounds, and certainly knows what he's doing on safety car restarts, so we'll see what he can do from here and whether he's going to be able to take advantage of this one to seal another win in the bag and extend that points gap to effectively win the championship from here on out, or put at least one hand on it. But certainly going to be interesting to see what happens with the fact that you got Hides, Oliver and Burst all with very, very good pace just in behind.
Yeah, for sure. Steve Owen looking like our first retirement from this race. Remember, he was heavily damaged after lap 1, turn 1, and we picked up some incident points from that as well. If he kept going and got more, might have had a drive-through, decided serving that after the safety car would kill his race, and it might be the last we see of him.
Did actually have a spin through the second last corner as well, so probably not too happy with himself at the end as decided to call it a day.
Kobe Williams was about to go a second lap down, and then the safety car came out, so he's going to catch the field, and I wonder if he's then he is going to get an extra wave around. So lucky Kobe Williams is going to get 1 3/4 of a lap back. Cam, it's getting pretty dark out there. I've got to imagine that actually we saw the sun starting to disappear behind some of the grandstands, that we're going to see the headlights proper, not just the daytime running lights, come onto these Audi TCRs very shortly. No lights on the safety car, but it's going to get its lights in a second as well.
Yeah, certainly. That sun's starting to get a little bit low in the sky now, and there's starting to see less and less daylight. Shouldn't be too far away from seeing all those headlights start to click on and light this place up.
No, Mario's going to get his headlights. He just doesn't have the daytime running lights. it's those I don't know what kind of connectors they're making those daytime running lights out of, but look at them wrong, they'll go out. But the high beams proper, very, very robust. They're made out of entirely different materials, it would seem. Kobe Williams, has he caught the field and gone around yet? Is he? He's still off the lead lap, unfortunately.
He still does need to do an entire lap in order to get his lap back. He's only just coming through turn 9 now, so he's got a long ways to go to catch up to the tail of his field, and he's probably not going to get back to the end of it to do the restart, but he should be able to at least get his lap back and end up back on the lead lap.
Lights are off the safety car. Barney changes pose. Safety car speed here is 100 kilometers an hour. There's other tracks where it's 80 or 60. It's a lot easier to get a whole lap back. Those shorter tracks where the pack is doing 60. To be able to get, it takes him 2 laps to catch a whole lap if he could average 200 kilometers an hour. And I'm not sure he can average 200 in a TCR. So he catches the field, but not at double their speed for Kobe Williams. He's going to get to the back of the pack and then might get, half a lap around?
You're probably around that. They're only just coming through Maggot's Pickets now, so...
Just on a 2-minute flat under safety car as Kobe Williams. Good on him. Oh, whoosh. Here he goes. Is he flashing the headlights? I'd be flashing the headlights.
He's going flat out to try and get past everybody, and certainly no headlight flashing going on, but he's certainly full tilt from this point on.
Steve Owen's already parked up. He's just been given a drive-through penalty. And yum, there goes a flyby. Bit of a buzz from Kobe Williams, desperately trying to get himself both back onto the lead lap and then all that he can get before the rest of the field restarts. He is 23rd. And Darren Sharp in 22nd is on the tail of the field, about a minute and a half ahead of Williams. Are we going to be able to get a replay of Matthew McMillan coming to the start of the safety car? Would be coming through Woodcote or Luffield right as the field caught the safety car. God goodness, he's shiny in these conditions.
Certainly is, as the headlights are now on for everybody's car.
Yeah, boys.
Including the safety car.
Lit.
I don't know whether to laugh, cringe, or cry on that one.
Oh, so long as you say it ironically. Okay. It's coming down the hanger straight for McMillan. So about halfway around the lap. Don't get dizzy, dear viewers. I believe it should be in Luffield. McMillan was, protested to race control that someone hit him under caution. So I think at this point for McMillan, the safety car would have been called. He's coming around to just catch the field and catch the safety car initially. Oh, someone's off track. Someone was already off track in front of him. And it's Owen, isn't it? Well, we're going to come to the race restart here, and Jack Boyd has just put the power down to get us underway with 12 minutes, 35 seconds to go. That is 7 laps still to go in this race. Jack Boyd gets us racing with Caleb Hydes in second and Aaron Oliver in third. Dylan Burse is your big mover of the race so far. Started outside of the top 15, now running 4th, 1 second off. Can he get himself a podium in this one?
He'll have to wait and see if he can get himself a podium in this one, but still plenty of racing to go. So it's anybody's guess as to what's going to happen from here, but they certainly do need to remember that it's going to be very, very close, and they do need to be a little bit responsible and not get too many off tracks as well, especially for those who are starting to get a little bit close to the threshold. But certainly all on, and Christopher Hen trying to close the gap to Sam Lehman and try and get that move done, but not going to be able to get it done at this point. But up the inside goes Vantagiato on one of the Iridium cars. That is going to be Caleb Hydes by the looks of it. No, sorry, that's going to be Vartanian.
So it is, and it just looked like he was shaping up for another move as well. He has, I think, gotten another spot there. Top 4 start to break away a little bit as 5th and others become a battle. Look at them all swarming down the straight towards the Abbey chicane. Harrison gets ahead of Richard Brookfield as well. They bang some panels. I think, well, if you're Vantagiato, you've got to be clean all the way to the end. There's Glenn Boyd. Someone's off the track. That's going to be a nasty rejoin. That's a nasty rejoin. Matthew Hansford Taylor. I called that one before it even happened.
Yeah, certainly on the grass, especially at that corner, at those speeds, you're not going to stop it. Unfortunately, that's not how Brady Buchanan will have hoped to have exited at that corner, and ended up probably getting partway through, well, restarting this race as well. You can see 3 wide, and unfortunately, Hansford Taylor getting forced out on the exit of bridge, and then trying to stop the car had no hope, and unfortunately, Buchanan just getting absolutely sideswiped.
Yep. Bit messy there. 10 minutes to go. Hydes trying desperately to stay within the slipstream of Jack Boyd, not let him get away, and then Dylan Burst is up into 3rd ahead of Aaron Oliver, trying to do likewise. Watch Hydes just follow whichever way Boyd goes down the hangar straight. Everyone else stays in line as well. Looking at Caplice and Harrison. Harrison down the inside of Caplice, and 5th and 6th becomes 6th and 5th for those guys. Harrison up into 5th place, putting another ILEC car behind him. Whoa, another move back, big dive to the inside. Caplice practiced that one last race, but Harrison is too wily for that one.
He certainly was too wily for that one, but he's looking very, very hungry is Caplice, and so is Brookfield as well, just following him on through. But it's certainly going to be a move from Brookfield up the inside of his ILEC teammate, as he doesn't quite make it stick in the end though. Got up the inside though and tried to go, but wasn't able to get the run on the exit of the corner. So not
Oliver struck back at Burst striking back at Oliver in the battle for the final podium position. First one's out of steam. Aaron Oliver is back up into 3rd, and that takes away Dylan Burst's biggest mover award as well, unless he can get back into 3rd.
Simply looking very racy is Burst at the moment, and could very, very well get by Aaron Oliver in the next few laps. Still at about just over 4 laps, let's say 5 laps roughly this time by, so still plenty of racing to go, but see that podium position is going to be very, very hotly contested between those 3 drivers.
Yeah, 5 laps to go for sure. Jack Boyd nails in the fastest lap of the race. The track has cooled off even further as the sun has set. 18 on the track. Kobe Williams has exceeded off tracks too many times, and he's going to pick up a drive-through penalty, which is going to hurt him deeply. He's already last car running on track and is now going to lose that lap he had fought to get back. But Oliver and Burst battling has brought Lee Harrison right with him. What a head of steam. He's got down the hangar straight. Burst covers it off. Also looks for a move on Oliver. It doesn't lead to anything, but they're all looking punchy and racy to the end, and they are dropping away as the dive comes from Burst. The inside there becomes the outside at Club. Had a dive, didn't work, and it's letting Boyd and Hydes get away.
Yes, it's starting to get away, but Oliver's going to have to go defensive on Burst. He's going to look to the outside of Oliver through turn 10. Not quite going to be able to get it done though, is bursting off slot in behind now. Harrison going to be closing right up to the rear bumper of Dylan Burst. Going to look to the inside, not quite going to be able to get overlapped though, and Burst nearly running into the back of Oliver as well. So very, very tightly compacted little battle pack going on here. Harrison again looks up the inside, but going to be no move made. And now you've got a proper train of cars here. Is up the inside, he goes again on Dylan Burst, having some few technical issues, but he's managing to make it stick. His Burst is going to give him the room on the exit, but he should have some momentum on his side on the exit with the fact that he ran a little bit on the wider side, but he's not going to be able to have anything for him at turn 1. Decides to slot in behind, looks back up the inside on the way to turn 1 with a big old send, and he's just managed to pull that one off. And now here comes Liam Caplice up the inside of Lee Harrison. They're going to be side by side on the way into Maggots, and it's going to be very, very tight, but Caplice is going to pull that one off. Only just because Harrison's trying to come back at him, but he's not going to have anything staying on the outside there.
Oh, great back and forth there. And in the end, somehow, Police gets that from Lee Harrison. Richard Brookfield again with a head of steam. It is all kicked off here from 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. And they went side by side. They're swapping, changing lines. Burst is going to look around the outside of Oliver. Not sure he's going to find anything there. The action continues to be behind, where Caplice leans on Harrison a little bit, and then Brookfield comes through for the spot as well. Adam Sharp running inside the top 10 now, also trying to pick off Lee Harrison if he can.
Try, but he's not quite going to be successful at this stage at least. Brookfield looks to the inside of Caplice again, but going to be no move made there. Now Harrison going to be looking to size up Brookfield as well on the way down through bridge. He's very, very close now, but is he going to be able to get a move done? Not quite.
So Boyd's lead starting to get eroded by Caleb Hyde a little bit. Those two are motoring away from everyone else you see pictured here. Oliver and Burst fighting. Oliver back in front of Burst once again. And then we're going backwards for a moment, but Caplice and Brookfield have found a lot of strength towards the end of this race. And Lee Harrison stays with them. Oliver's going to defend the inside, but Burst has a lot of speed. Try to cut back over under. Sure that is going to work through Cox. They all stream single file.
And very aggressive amounts of curb being taken by Dylan Burst as well through Maggots and Beckett's that time by to try and close that gap up to Aaron Oliver and get as best of a run as he possibly can. Sitting down at the hangar straight. It looks like he's done an alright job as well with how he's gone about doing that. So he's going to have a run down the hangar straight, closing and closing. Is he going to be able to get the job done? Looks like he's going to try to, but we'll get a virtual racing school replay and have a look and see what's happening. Christopher here.
Christopher Henn's looking at Sharp and Lehman in front of him, tries to come around the outside of Lehman, gets to the inside, bit of a hip and shoulder there, and then gets a bit of return serve from Sam Lehman as well. Certainly snapped out some of that kind of nonsense, but then the Hen gets fed as well.
Pretty hard racing though, a bit of a biff and budge. It's one of those things where it's a give and take sort of thing, but certainly going to be very, very tough racing at the end, especially at this front of the
say
Sharp's now on the back of this.
Yeah, would you say that that Oliver and Burst had a lot more pace than some of these others? And the way they've been fighting has just let Caplice, Harrison, Brookfield, Adam Sharp, Mario Vartanian all stay in the picture here. I feel like Oliver and Burst should have motored away, and they haven't been able to the way they have been fighting.
Yes, and they've been fighting very, very hard, and as a result, everybody else is starting to come into the picture. That is the podium position fight for second and third, and going to be 2 to go this time by based on that clock. So it's going to be starting to get to crunch time, and everybody's really going to start to throw some big sends, I reckon.
Can sends get much larger? I suppose anything is possible. Weird lap time on my timing screen last time for Caleb Hydes, and he started to drop back a little bit from Jack Boyd. So Boyd starting to break away from the pressure, and of course Caleb Hydes very secure in second place. The way Oliver and Burst continue to fight. Oliver, right-hand side of the hangar straight. Burst even further right by dipping 2 tires in the grass, then changes line to try to come around the outside of Stowe. It's possible, it's difficult. Oliver not quite clear, but then slams the door on Burst. Now to cover the inside for Vale. Covered all the way. They are losing time. Hand over fist defending like this. They're about to come to the white flag and they're fighting for all of it.
Yeah, certainly going to be fighting all out in this next half, well, lap and a half to try and get these podium positions up the inside as Lee Harrison on Liam Caplice. He's going to give him a bit of a hip check though and cut across the grass. That's more contact. Harrison off the road and onto the grass. That's going to be a slowdown and an off track for him, and Brookfield's going to get on by Caplice as well, and up the inside it nearly is Adam Sharp, so Caplice going to lose at least 2 places there out of that, and somehow Harrison's going to keep on going despite that slowdown.
Yeah, not sure. He cut a lot of the track. Jack Boyd, though, is going to start the final lap of the race with 40 seconds left on the clock. He's got one more tour of Silverstone to bring home the win. And I have to bust out the calculator, but probably the championship as well. But it is all about this battle for third. Oliver and Burst chopping and changing lines, trying to get to the inside for Cops. Oliver still in third as Liam Caplice extends turn 1 as much as he possibly can with his little battle with Brookfield and Harrison. There they all are through the famous section of this course. Burst is right with Oliver though, the critical run down the hangar straight, but then he's got to think twice, playing his chess moves further ahead because it's a big run from Lee Harrison as well. They're going to fan out, potentially 3 wide. Burst comes across to close off Harrison while still trying to come around the outside of Aaron Oliver.
And Burst trying his best that he can. He's going to look to the outside though as Oliver goes defensive on the way into turn 8. He's going to get shuffled out as Burst, and that's going to actually look like he's got wheel damage as a result of that, and that's not going to be what he wanted at all. He's dropping back quickly and rapidly, but doesn't look like it's affecting him too much. But he's certainly going to lose 2 places out of that, and Oliver's going to hold on. Brookfield in the background, looking up the inside of his teammate again at the same old corner, in contact between the 2 teammates.
Oh, that's the golden rule broken there. Between Caplice and Brookfield. Caplice comes off much the worse on the final lap here. Oliver still keeping Dylan Burst behind. Lee Harrison's got in front. Jack Boyd, though, is going to bring this one home for yet another victory in Club Day Masters. And a big old haul of points for him. Caleb Hydes gets second. Aaron Oliver, is he going to be able to hold on for third? I think he is. Burst shuffled back to 5th, and then Sam Lehman's still battling with Sharp. Top 10 to get completed by Vartanian. Crazy battle pack in the top 10 there.
He couldn't have asked for a better race, so you probably could have, but certainly a very, very close one in the end regardless, and very much hotly contested between all those drivers, just inside the top 5 and just inside the top 8 really. Anyone could have come away with the podium there.
I'm watching for the last car, Kobe Williams, to come to the checkered flag and then see if any post-race penalties get applied. In the meantime, VRS replay here. This is Lee Harrison with his side-by-side with Caplice. Gets down the inside, makes a bit of contact, and turns himself, cuts that much of the corner, and somehow gets away with it. And he still ended up finishing 4th. Dale Carpenter and Darren Sharp get dropped. A lot of positions post-race, but no effect from anyone in our top 10. So let's glance at them results then. because Jack Boyd grabs the win from Caleb Hydes. Aaron Oliver fought for his life to get third place ahead of Lee Harrison. Dylan Burse in fifth. Richard Brookfield gets sixth place, but maybe not making friends with his teammates on that one. Adam Sharp in seventh, Sam Lehman eighth, Vantagiato in ninth, and Mario Vartanian rounds out the top 10.
And you're going to have Glenn Boyd coming home in 11th, followed by Liam Complete after contact with his teammate. Will be very bitter about that one, that's for sure. And there'll be a little bit of team displayed in the team chat afterwards. 13th goes to Christopher Hen, followed by Shannon McMillan and Nick Scary rounding out the top 15. If there was one more race, Nick, or it had been race one, he would have got pole. But nevertheless, Matthew McMillan coming home in 16th. 17th, Matthew Hansford Taylor, Brady Buchanan, your pole sitter, coming home in 18th after what happened on lap 1. 19th, the Greg Holmes and Damien Cairns rounding out the top 20 with Dale Carpenter, Kobe Williams, Darren Sharp, Stephen Owen, and Jack Charles rounding out the field.
Yeah, indeed. I think that second race gave us the kind of action we were hoping for and expecting. So let's speak to some of our podium finishers from race 2. Let's grab third place man, Aaron Oliver, because Aaron, what a battle we saw from that safety car restart all the way to the end. Your heart must be racing.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't had really a second to take it in, just got out of the race and haven't really calmed down just yet. It was pretty hectic. After the safety car restart, we were looking strong in that and was going to have a bit of a battle with Jack and Caleb. But we got involved in a couple of incidents there and had a fair bit of damage. So we lost a bit of straight line speed in the end.
Double digits on the send counter, I think, back and forth between yourself and Dylan Burse. How did you see some of that?
Very defensive racing from myself, to say the least. And it was just close in general. I mean, it was racing at the end of the day. It was just close racing in the end. There's not much else I can say.
And as we come into the later half of this season, your consistency has paid off. Second in the championship coming into this round. Some more podium finishes, some good results. Keeps that going for you. 2 podiums today, in fact. So I think Boyd's gotten away a little bit too far in the lead, but are you happy with, the championship picture as a whole?
Yeah, certainly. After, like I've said it over the last couple of weeks now, but after the first and second round, we were way down in the championship and that, and we've just been slowly creeping forward in it, and now we're sitting at second. I'm pretty happy with that, and tonight's results, the second and the third, I can't really complain. It's unfortunate what happened with Ivan. I'm not too sure what happened there, but the second place is always the second place, so can't really complain.
And what's the plans in 2021 for Aaron Oliver Racing?
In the sim world, just have a bust up here and there, have a bit of fun, and then at the moment we're still looking at what we're going to be racing this year in the real world. You will certainly still find me in a Circuit XL car in South Australia, but we're just sorting out sponsorship at the moment to see what other categories we can branch into.
Interesting. Well, congratulations, 2 podiums today and a big haul of points.
Yeah, certainly, it was awesome.
And that was third on the podium in race 2, and very well deserved across the whole night from Aaron Oliver. So then second place, Caleb Hydes, is going to be with Cam Dance.
Yeah, certainly a very, very solid way to finish the night off with a second, and didn't quite have a good race one, but overall not too bad of a points haul for you, Caleb.
Overall, round was pretty good, so glad to be able to have another good result, which we haven't had in a while. So overall positive event, and
Yes, and saw a few moments there where it got very, very dicey and ended up being, unfortunately, copying the raw end of the stick in race 1 with that incident that happened. But it certainly was a not too bad of a night overall. With pit strategy, was it more or less just trying to get out of traffic with the fact that draft was such a player, or was it try and work with others to use that draft to your advantage in terms of pit strategy as well?
I think the main thing was working with Dylan Burse, just staying out at front, and then just basically going until the end of the fuel, and then just pitting in, making sure we would get it done before the safety car. But we didn't do any early stops this event, so that was our plan, just stay out, and it seemed to work.
We head to the high banks of Daytona for the final round of the championship, and with yourself sitting in a reasonable spot, expectations and any sort of plans to maybe look forward to?
Yeah, I think overall, I just would like a good result there. I'm not really too fussed about championship because I missed a couple of the first rounds. So just have a bit of fun, clean racing, and just have a good result.
Before we let you go, just any thanks and any shout outs you want to give?
Just a big thank you to the whole team at Iridium Motorsports, all the team sponsors, my personal sponsor, pitbox.io, and all the boys back in the ISO Bus Stuffs Discord.
There you have it, David. Second place finisher, and I believe you're standing by with the race 2 winner.
Yeah, of course, Jack Boyd. Great way to bring the round home. And have you done the numbers? I haven't done the numbers yet, but you got to be 200 points clear to have sealed this championship.
Not too sure yet. I'll have to wait for the official ladder to come out after this round. But pretty happy to win that one. It's pretty hectic. After the first race effort, it was I was a bit worried there. Didn't think I was going to be able to crack the top 3, but just a flat headset, unfortunately, in the first race kind of hampered that race. And I was on a bit of a charge in this race to make up for it.
Looked at it, I think Aaron Oliver scored enough points this round that you've got to go and perform in the final round at Daytona. But what about this Silverstone layout? I mean, a Grand Prix layout, full Grand Prix track. It looked like the slipstream was very, very strong in a couple places, and it was difficult to break away.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't get as much practice in as I was hoping, and these cars are already really close. So when you bring in the draft and the long straights of Silverstone, it's really hard to break away. And I think we saw a lot of packs there. I think the top 5 was in their own group, and then also the bottom 5 of the top 10 were kind of fighting away with their own group. So I think the car wasn't really suited to the track that well. Obviously, with the long radius corners, the front wheel drive cars just hate it. So it was a good challenge, and I think Daytona will be much the same with the long straights again.
Different paint on the car than a week ago. Give us the scoop. What are we going to expect going forward?
I'm not too sure yet. I've just reverted to the family racing team that we the paint we use in real life on the cars. So in the meantime, until I find a new sim team, I'll be running that. So just with all our family team supporters on there, and it's a good looking paint, and it should do until I can find a new team for the sim.
Fair enough. Means there's 2 of them out on track, though. So you gotta keep yourself up the front of the 2 Boyd racing cars there.
Yeah, Dad's been having a bit of a bash as well. So it's really good. We've got some family watching as well. So it's really good to have both the Boyd racing cars out there, and have a bit of a bash after work every Monday night. It's good fun.
So then we got to talk Daytona next week on the banking. Ridiculous slipstreaming. I think that's going to be one of the circuits where it's hardest to keep your nose clean, and keep your nose clean is what you're going to have to do in the final round.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we saw how aggressive the racing was tonight. Next week it'll be elbows out for sure, and hopefully we can keep it in the top 3. And we'll have to see what happens. No doubt everyone will be getting some practice laps in. So I might have to put a few nights of practice in for this one.
Well, congratulations. Race 2 win today. Another textbook safety car restart. Everyone else is probably going to need to watch this one back again to study that. Anyone you're going to thank this particular week?
Just a huge thanks to everyone that keeps organising this race every Monday night. It's been a really fun series to be a part of, and I really hope season 3 can be just as good. So thank you to everyone behind the scenes.
Fantastic. Championship leader and race 2 winner, Jack Boyd, with us here. Cam, though, that's everything from Silverstone. 2 action-packed races. Plenty of biff and barge and intrigue, and a lot to dissect as well, and leads us into a final round in a week's time.
Yeah, certainly, and obviously Daytona, a very, very draft-heavy track, so working together with drivers is going to be very, very key, and making sure you don't screw that pit stop up as well is going to be very, very important, with the fact that you can save a lot of fuel with traffic. So we're interested to see if anybody does any gambling in terms of that department, but certainly looking forward to seeing who's going to end up coming out on top.
Yep, no rain delays in Club Day Masters, so join us again the same time 1 week from now, and we can guarantee you a result and a champion. From myself, David Haynes, Cam Dance with me, Jay Kennedy, the monkey with the buttons. This has been Club Day Masters, brought to you by our sponsors, Aussie Karts, Altitude Modbury, Golden Grove, Digital Marketing Tribe, and KP Tech, making sure Club Day Masters runs for you. And we will crown a champion and probably bring a lot of action at Daytona 1 week from now. See you then.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got everything else. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?